Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the special meeting for the Fire Department, Public Safety. I call the meeting to order for June 22nd, 2022 at 7:03. First order of business, if we could just attendance, Councilman Darnell Ford,
Councilman Anthony Mangiafico,
Councilwoman Megan Carta.
Councilwoman Linda Salafia.
and thank you so much. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the previous meeting, which was held on May 16th, 2022. Have a motion for approval, please.
so moved. Councilman Mangiafico,
Second, Salafia.
Thank you so much. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Matter passes unanimously. All right, next on the agenda is anyone from the public who wishes to speak on matters on the agenda only. Please use the hand raise function on your WebEx device or *3 on your mobile device. Okay, I do see people in the queue from the public, but no one at this time has their hand raised. So I will close this portion of the agenda. And moving on to correspondence, which is none. And then next is monthly reports. Chief, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Last month, for the month of May, 316 emergency calls. That was up 6 from the previous month. We had a very busy month again with emergency calls. We went to line mutual aid on a dive call for a young man who drowned. Unfortunately, one of our divers, Lieutenant O'Donnell, was the one who made the recovery there. The following weekend, we were called to Portland for another dive call. Just as we arrived, some Samaritans in a boat were able to give a good last seen point, and they were able to quickly recover the gentleman. He survived. The same day we went to Guilford for a dive call, and again that was a fatal. It was a kayaker fell out of his kayak and drowned. We assisted the Guilford Fire Department in recovery of that victim. While that was going on, the Portland South Fire District, the Middletown dive teams were in Guilford. We responded to a structure fire on Newtown Street in South Fire District. And the Middletown Fire Department, we extinguished a furnace fire with some extension there. And then South Fire had that large brush fire. Middletown Fire, we stood by with an engine company for 12 hours at South District headquarters, covering them. And then also responded to the Freeman Road structure fire during that event. Then there was another brush fire on Reservoir Road. We went mutual aid with our UTV 6-wheel Polaris vehicle. We had a second car into the water down off River Road. Again, that got our marine unit, our dive team, the fire department. I was on vacation. We had the water main break on Main Street. The deputy managed that incident for the Middletown Fire Department. What we did there, we assisted the water department. We have trench rescue capabilities, so we brought in our assistant chief of training, and the deputy was there also to assist them if they needed any of our resources with our trench rescue equipment. So water department did a tremendous job isolating that and getting it back in. One of the things that happened during that, the hospital lost water to the boilers and the chillers at the hospital. So we arranged for a fire department tanker truck to go there and fill their system, get them back into operation. This happened years ago. The hospital's emergency plan was supposed to have a private water service in place to do that with, because really what happened for a period of time, we were covering the entire city with tanker trucks because the hydrants weren't functional. So we had a tanker task force on standby, but that one tanker that went to the hospital actually came out of the standby resources. So I had I reached out to the hospital and they've since made the correction. So if that were to ever happen again, they'd bring in a private water hauler to take care of that. Then we had we assisted South Fire District in the compressed gas garbage truck fire that was near a building. This past Saturday, we responded to Meriden for 3-alarm fire in the downtown area. Came in with residents trapped. Our truck company, our assistant chief, and myself responded to that incident. And then last evening, we were in Westfield for 2 of our engines. Our battalion chief and assistant chief were there for a deck fire, which extended into a condominium. So it's been extremely busy month for emergency calls. It just seems month after month we've been rocking along here with large incidents. As far as events, we provided EMS standby for Wesleyan had 2 graduations, their normal graduation, and then they brought it back to class that didn't graduate during COVID. So we did 2 standbys for them. I attended the Beeman dedication. I also attended the Community Health Center's 50th anniversary celebration. We had a great showing at the Memorial Day Parade. We were actually able to put the 1930 tow truck into the parade, which was something to see. Again, we provided EMS standby at cruise night. I was there. I actually had a 1968 Camaro, so I had my car in the car show. I snuck in before they got filled up. But, a great turnout, a huge crowd. Another great event on Main Street. The Pride Parade, I was away on a cruise. Deputy Chief Albert did our operations along with Assistant Chief Eamon, who oversaw safety. And then we had Battalion Chief France at the Police Department Command Post for the entire event. We had built an incident action plan around the event. We had our truck one there to fly the flag for the day. For the first time ever, we put EMTs on bicycles to quickly navigate the crowd. And then we also had our UTV there, and I had a lot of great feedback. One of the best pieces of feedback is being able to fly the flag with truck 1 at the end of Main Street. So it looked like it was an awesome event. All the feedback I got, and like I said, Deputy Chief Albert, Assistant Chief Eamon, and Chief France ran a tremendous operation there for the fire department. We had minimal medical emergencies, only a couple minor medical emergencies, which is tremendous. The car show the other night, we had 1 person that required a Band-Aid. That was the extent of EMS. So again, that's what we like. This Friday evening is our awards ceremony at 6 o'clock at Mercy High School. We haven't had one since 2015. So we have some really pretty spectacular events and achievements that members of the department have done in the past 7 years that are going to be recognized on Friday. Our old business overtime is still pretty high, especially our mutual aid overtime is, again, whether we're going to, Meriden, Westfield, South Fire District, Portland, there's a cost associated with that. And then our special events overtime was heavy with the Pride Parade and the car show and et cetera. And we're at full staffing right now, other than we still have one out on military leave, and that will be till October. And we have a lieutenant who will be retiring July 1st. So, we have one person left on the lieutenant's list. So I put the requisition into HR. So we'll fill that off an existing list. and then that list is expired, and no one left on it either. The list expires in September. The city for EMS last month, the month of May, the city of Middletown had 820 medical calls. There were 5 mutual aid ambulances, which came into the city, and that accounts for about 0.6%. So Hartford Healthcare has been doing a good job of covering calls and not having used mutual aid. The Middlesex Hospital is moving along with their plan to go into the transport business. They have filed the paperwork with state OEMS, so there'll be a hearing on that, and they continue to buy ambulances. They're going to, their end goal is 10 ambulances, so then they can do the transport right from the hospital. They expect that they will get, OEMS will okay the request, and their target is at the end of this 2022 to be in the transport business, which will be a great addition here in the city. Our active violence committee, I had put in a community grant looking for $100,000, and we were given $35,000 toward that initiative. I met with an agency this week that does the EMS component training for active violence. They just did 100 firefighters down in Bridgeport. It's a 20-hour class where they teach the medical interventions for whether it's an active shooter event, active violence event, and then the second day is scenario based, and then the last 4 hours of it are large scenario based. So they're giving me a quote this week. I should have the quote back for that training, but I think this is something obviously we need to act on. Things that are happening around the country, what just happened down in Texas. We're going to get called as the fire department because we do the EMS first responders. So we really need to have the training, purchase the equipment, and we have an itemized list of the equipment. The equipment's about $70,000. The training is about $30,000. All the EMS equipment I have purchased already, so we're carrying. We just ordered all the intervention type EMS equipment that we wouldn't have, extra tourniquets and quick clotting and what we would need for an intervention in that type of call. So that equipment, that EMS equipment, will be in this week. We already carry some, but I had some extra EMS money set aside, so we made that purchase this week. So we'll have that extra inventory ready to go. So basically the things we're looking at is the training class, purchasing the ballistic protection equipment. What we're going to do is we have 15 firefighters on duty. We'll carry 18 sets. I'll have a set for myself, the deputy, the assistant chief, and then the 15 riding spots in the fire department. So for any kind of active violence event, we'll be able to put 18 personnel on scene, equipped and ready to do EMS. As we get closer to this, I'll bring it forward to obviously this group, and I think we're looking for funding to pick up the balance of what we didn't get out of the grant. But it's really something that we have to have in place. We're kind of living on borrowed time. I believe with these incidents that go on around the country, we've had them here in the city. We had the gentleman drive into the hospital. We had a shooting at Wesleyan Bookstore. So we're not immune to it here in Middletown. So I'll have that. I should have all that together by the next month's meeting. And the mayor's office is on board with us bringing this into the fire department. So I know.
Chief, I have a quick question for you.
Yes.
So will we also be responding, mutually? So if Meriden has an issue, will we have some connection with that, or is what we're getting right now specific just to Middletown? And
I hate to say it's, we're looking at Middletown specific because whether, if we had the equipment and the training tomorrow, we can go anywhere in the city. We do now mutual aid with other fire districts. If it was something big enough that they needed us there, again, if we get a mutual aid request, if it's something that we're trained in and have the equipment in, we respond. No different than the town of Lyme or Guilford calling us mutual aid with our dive teams, or we would bring them, we'd bring other departments into here if they had specialized equipment or resources that we would need. So, but obviously this program and equipment is for the city of Middletown. Okay. Unfortunately, in our district, we have the hospital, we have Wesleyan University, we have the high school, several elementary schools. So this is something we know we've been deficient at, and we got to get this corrected. So I'll have the information for you definitely for next month. We'll have the final numbers.
okay, thank you.
Our recruitment drive is getting ready to go out. HR, they developed a flyer. It's been posted on city sites. We put it out on social media. They're planning on the entry-level firefighters exam to be in October. I'm meeting, myself and the deputy are going to be meeting with HR next week. We're going to lock in the 6 locations that we're going to do the hour-long presentations at. And we're looking at Middletown High, a couple of the churches. We'll probably do one right at the Middletown Fire Department, Middlesex Community College, and then we're looking for one more location. But we want to get a cross section of residents of the city and who would be interested. And I have a group of individuals from the department. It's literally a cross section of our organization that's going to go out and do the presentations with us. So we're really looking forward to getting the message out really to the residents of the city and seeing if we can make inroads where we haven't in the past. So we put it out on social media already. The flyer that HR put together have all kinds of feedback on it. Questions: how can people apply? Is there anything in there that they need that wasn't in there? So and then HR is also going to advertise it. They're going to ask us which medium they want the advertisement to go out on. So we have that meeting with Michelle from HR next week and Justin. So they're looking at mid-October to do the written test, and then we would get into the interview processes here. The next recruit class we would put people into wouldn't be until mid-February of 2023. So we have plenty of cushion to do these information sessions, do the testing process, and hopefully get a nice diverse group, and hopefully from the city also. We also will be testing for fire lieutenant, battalion chief, and assistant fire marshal in October. Those lists expire. Contractually, we have to have the list. We also always have to have a current list. So, and we do have a battalion chief who's going to be retiring, and we have an assistant fire marshal who's going to be retiring. So there will be 2 openings there that will fill off those lists. So Michelle told me that they're looking at mid-October to do those, the writtens, and then we'll do orals, and then we'll have certified lists.
I think Councilwoman Salafi has a question, Chief.
Sure.
Well, I more have a statement. You have your lieutenant is retiring as of July 1st. I
Yes.
don't think the others are really aware that there's kind of a fluke in the vacation scheduling between the fire department and other departments. The other departments used to all accumulate vacation on a monthly basis, and then they changed it. They get vacation throughout the year on their anniversaries.
Mhm.
Fire department and most unions get to carry it over to a certain extent every year. The fire department gets their vacation July 1st,
Right.
all in a lump sum,
Mhm.
and they have to use it before June 30th.
Right.
There was one year where the city, and I can't remember what mayor it was, gave a golden handshake to the fire department for July 1st.
Mhm.
So for the whole month of the 5 or 6 weeks that they get, July and August, there were no firemen. They were
Right.
all running out. You have to run out your vacation time before you
Yeah.
can start your pension. And the city has another fluke where you can't hire somebody in a position that's already filled. So while people are running out their vacation time before they can retire, the city doesn't hire somebody to replace them.
So what they've allowed us to do now is that's changed to where so anybody who's going to retire on July 1st, as of July 1st, they get 2 PL days. So
That's it.
Yeah, well, 2 PL days for the upcoming year. So they will take those 2 PL days, which takes them deeper into that first week of July, and then they're allowed to cash out their vacation for that year. So we don't run into having a vacancy for 6 weeks or whatever the vacation was.
Did that go through the pension board?
Yeah,
Because,
yeah, that's been that way now for,
well, less than 12 years. Because
oh, yeah, no, it's been that way for a couple of years now.
Okay.
And the biggest problem was what you just described is you could get 3, 4 people that retired and they were running out 6 weeks of vacation. And now we had to cover them for 6 weeks. So
Yep.
that got changed. So, yeah. So
But-
Lieutenant D'Angelo will use his 2 PL days and he'll technically be off the books somewhere around the 8th of July.
because the question, which is really not a question for here anyway, but I'm going to ask it now. The question was, does that then count towards the pension calculation? Whereas when they ran it out, it did.
Yeah, it
But-
does. It does.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's in the contract. That's contractual.
Is it now new? Okay.
That went into this last contract, so that's contractual.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I
Next,
can
we're
stop talking about it then.
our brand new fire department software is up and running now. Red NMX is alive and running, and that entire process has been handled by Deputy Chief Albert and Chris from IT, and they've done a tremendous job. We literally had the fire department software we used was sold and no longer being supported, and it slowly stopped working. And we've got this new one, which is completely different from what we use. Had to be implemented, and we actually picked it back in October, and here we are in June. I'm sure the deputy can tell you what percentage we're up and running at, but we're probably at 80 or 90%, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, just a few little things like getting our station boards up and running, the phone apps up and running. But as far as incident-wise, for reporting, scheduling, everything's going. It's going great. It's much more user-friendly. Guys are all saying how easy it is to just fill in a report. The old system, if we went on a fire alarm for every single apparatus, you had to figure out all the times for each apparatus. It'd be a 10, 15-minute ordeal to do a report. So it's much more time efficient and user-friendly.
A huge undertaking. They've done a tremendous job, hours and hours to make this cut over, and lots of Pepto-Bismol and tons taken by the fire department, because if it didn't work, we'd be doing things by paper and hand. So
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great product. We're happy with what we went with, and should serve us well. Staff vehicle replacement. there's money got approved in this year's budget that went into the CNR. I had a conversation with Joe Samolis. He's still assisting us with this project, and he has a contact with Columbia Ford. We're going to be purchasing Ford F-150 pickup trucks, the electric ones, the Lightnings, and there's a liaison from Ford who does the government purchases, and they're telling us they have the vehicles set aside for Middletown because they want us to be one of the first fire departments that are going to go. We're probably going with 8 of them: fire marshals, the deputy, assistant chief, and the 2 alarms division personnel. So I'm sure they want to get some press out of this. But Columbia Ford is telling us we should be able to get the vehicles this summer because they're really hard to come by. So Joe Samolis is an acquaintance, I believe, with the owner of Columbia Ford. So they're helping us out. We're waiting to get the final pricing and what the government discounts are. And so I should have concrete answer and delivery times by the next meeting. But we're looking forward to, the best thing here is we're going to do away with, we're going to get rid of some vehicles, and then the city's going to repurpose some of our SUVs to other departments. But we're literally going to take 8 vehicles that use gasoline off the books. And at the cost of gasoline right now, we'll be able to actually pay for 1.5 pickup trucks a year in what we would consume in gasoline. So it's going to be a tremendous savings to the city and the fire department. We've yet to see what the diesel and gasoline bids are yet for the year, but I can only imagine what we're going to be paying.
Chief, just a quick question, actually 2. At any time were we only talking about replacing 3 and it went up to 8, or am I?
No, we were doing 7
gonna do
actually.
8?
We were going to do 7. We were going to do the 4 fire marshals, the 2 alarm techs, and then if we were doing gasoline ones, we were going to try to do 3 one year and 4 the other year.
Okay, maybe that's what I thought.
Yeah, the price of the electric pickup truck is the same as
Right,
gasoline,
right.
but Joe Smalls the information he has is the federal government is going to give us somewhere in the vicinity of an $8,000 rebate per vehicle because they're electric and energy efficient. So when we spoke at budget time with the mayor's office and finance, they suggested that instead of doing them in a 2-year increment, we should just get them, then we can take the gasoline vehicles off the books. So we're kind of waiting for the final numbers on what they're going to cost to come back.
Now, are they going to retrofit a charging station at where they're going to be at, Mile Lane?
So no, we're going to put charging. We're going to put 6 charging stations in the back parking lot of Main Street. We'll have 2 at Cross Street. We'll have 2 at City Yard. So no matter where they go, the Lightning pickup truck model, which we would be getting, you can do a 80% charge in 18 minutes. So you can go from a 0 charge to 80% in 18 minutes. So it's very quick and efficient. So we're really looking forward to the ones they've been producing have been getting great reviews. It's looking forward to trying this out. Hopefully hopefully it's all working out. But we'll have the numbers back next month from Joe. He's working hard to get them back to us. So.
All right, thank you.
Our Quint fire apparatus. Right before I went on vacation, the apparatus manufacturer called me to tell me that I was leaving on June 2nd. He told me on June 6th there was going to be a 7% price increase across the board on fire apparatus. That equates to $84,000 increase on this truck. So I met with the mayor, Diana Doyle. We had already allocated half the price of the truck into this year's budget, and we also had money in a fund balance for the rest of it. After talking about this price increase, it was decided that we should just go ahead and place the order to beat the price increase. So we went ahead. They're on Sourcewell. I'm not sure if you're familiar with what Sourcewell is. It's a national consortium of purchasing, and fire apparatus is in it. So when we purchased this truck with the Schmiel company, and they're part of Sourcewell, as well as the city is, we achieved a 5% savings on that truck. Again, that equated to $60,000 savings by using Sourcewell. So we placed the order with them. I also had requested ARPA funding for the truck, and I made that presentation last month to the committee, and they have not voted they have not formally voted on it, but Bobby Peterson informed me that we will be getting ARPA funding toward the truck. So again, that'll also offset, which will allow us to keep some extra funds in our fund balance. This company took our old truck too, the old ladder truck that was that had the failure. They took that as a trade-in, and we got $15,000. So basically, somebody bought that truck. They're going to be taking it, and the only thing they wanted from it was the motor, and they're going to scrap the rest of it for scrap metal. So
Wow.
the truck will be leaving the city probably within a week, and that all went through legal, the mayor's office, legal, and risk management. So everybody's on board with the truck being traded in now, and we wanted to get it out of the city before, God forbid, something happened to it and we lost our trading value. So they're going to come take the truck. On the 30th, we have a pre-con meeting with the company. So it'll be a video conference with the engineers out in Nebraska. And we have probably about a 300-page specification that we've done for this truck. And we'll go through that entire specification with the engineers, and that will get signed off on the 30th, and the truck will start being built. They gave us a 365-day build time, which is in line with what they used to be. The other apparatus manufacturer that we were talking to was giving us a 500-day build time. So I would imagine realistically, this truck will be in the city probably August of 23. We should have the truck in. So looking forward to that.
Chief, would you happen to have just a rough estimate? You said a lot of figures there, half the price, we had aside, fund balance, 60,000 savings, 15 trade-in.
Yep. So
What is
the truck is at truck came in at with all the trade-ins and the Sourcewell discount, it's at 1,100,000. So it's at 1,130,000. And there's also and I already talked to finance about this. If we want to pay once we sign off on the pre-con, if the city wants to pay 50% up front, they'll take another $20,000 off the price of the truck, and I guess that's something typically that the city does, talking with Diana. So we can take another $20,000 off by giving them half the money up front as they're doing the build. So
And that's not, so obviously this price is not including that, and it's not including what you might get from ARPA.
Right,
Correct.
yeah, yep, yes. So, you know, the information I got back about ARPA was it was gonna be a significant amount of money. I don't wanna, until it's voted on and it goes
Knock
to
on
the
wood.
council, I don't wanna, you know, but it was a significant amount of money, which would be tremendous because then, we put that funding back into our fund balance. The other information that I was given was, Governor Lamont, so in the past two budgets, the fire department has now received pilot funding, which we haven't had for years. So what we did with the majority of our pilot funding this year was we kept our mill rate flat for the fire department. We stayed at the flat rate, and the governor has said the governor's actually signed off on that pilot funding will be available to the city going forward each year, which means we should, as we get that payment and it goes into our fund balance, it should allow us to keep our mill rate flat each year. So, which is tremendous. I think we were one of probably the few departments that was able to keep our budget truly at zero.
Right.
So by, you know, if we are fortunate enough to get some ARPA money and we can put the money we had allocated back into the fund balance, that allows us to use it for we have some other projects and some firehouse projects and things that we can put it toward. That'll be tremendous. So,
All right. Thank you, Chief.
yep. And then, let's see. Street boxes have completely been removed. That project's done. Ken Scomro from the Alarms Division. All 167 boxes have been removed. Public Works has gone around taking the poles out of the ground that the boxes were mounted on and backfilled them and seated them. So that job is done. I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you remember when I bring the figure up, the two printer dispatch consoles that are in the communications center and the antennas have to be replaced. They've become broken and obsolete. That was a $120,000 repair. That is going to come out of the city's CNR, and so that paperwork will be filed. Finance told me usually that's like a first come first served pot of money. So they said it's such an important project. Make sure July 1st you have the paperwork to us. And when we did the budget, the mayor's office and finance said that would be taken care of by the city, not the fire department. So on July 1st, I guarantee you at 9 o'clock, I'll have that paperwork done at finance so they can get that project started and get that repair done. Another thing a little problem, or not a problem, but a potential problem we came upon is on any given day, the Alarms Division, they'll respond whether it's to a Middletown property, city of Middletown property, or private property, and take alarm systems out of service while they do sprinkler maintenance or other kinds of maintenance. And we never had a waiver if it was a private business, for the business to sign a release of liability on the fire department if we take the alarm system out of service. So we worked with legal this month and we came up with a waiver. So moving forward now, when the Alarms Division goes to a private property who's requested us to come take the alarm out of service while they do maintenance, they're required now to sign a waiver releasing the city from liability. And then once that system goes back in, they re-sign the waiver and we release it. So we had never had that. It's something we just implemented. Real good news are all of our protective clothing came in yesterday, and it's all been checked in and it's starting to be dispersed to the firefighters. So we're extremely thankful to the council and this group and the mayor's office for doing that for us. So as of right now, the entire organization has a brand new set of protective clothing and a second set that's compliant. The oldest set of compliance, second set gear is only 5 years old. So now we'll put it back into a normal replacement progression so that this type of thing never happens again. But the firefighters in our organization are extremely grateful for the city doing that for us. Tremendous. New business. We're going to be establishing a facilities committee to take a look at both of our fire stations. And we have some maintenance that needs to be done, some repairs, some freshening up of some things, and then looking at some future potential add-ons to both stations. So we're going to put together a committee and then get a report together of short, medium, and long-term goals for both fire stations. We're purchasing 3 bicycles, and we have the EMS equipment to go with them. It was a huge success using bicycles at the Pride Parade. A lot of times we're there with either a fire engine or a pickup truck or a 6-wheel UTV trying to navigate the crowds. It's very difficult to get into some spots in a hurry. It's, for medical emergencies. So we're purchasing 3 bikes. PD was nice enough to lend some to us. We will be, our EMS, the 2 EMS people that will be at City Hall during fireworks this year will be on bicycles. So we're going to purchase 3 bikes and have them in our fleet for whether it's the car show or fireworks, Pride Parade, those kinds of events where we can quickly navigate a crowd with a medical emergency. We're myself, the deputy, and the assistant chief are developing the acronym is FLIPS, but it's First Line Supervisor Training Program. So we're going to put together a program for our brand new supervisors who get promoted. In the past, literally you would get sworn in, raise your hand, put a new badge on your uniform, and now you're a supervisor. So what we're looking to do is we're going to develop a 2-week program where when the employees who are either on a promotional list, we'll put them through this 2-week program, everything from how to do reports, how to do medical reports, what they need to do at City Hall, keys, how to reset alarms, soup to nuts. And so when they get promoted, right now we got a great program where we have acting officers. So if a lieutenant is out, we'll have an acting lieutenant. If a battalion chief's out, a lieutenant will act as battalion chief. Those are great programs. This is the administrative side of it to really tie it together, that the day they get sworn in, they'll be ready to step into the new role without any issues. So we'll have that put together by the fall. Assistant Chief Eamon just received his master's degree from the University of New Haven. And then Lieutenant D'Angelo is retiring. Firefighter Michael Rice will be the one promoted into his position. And the last thing was the telecom meeting. They did not, I believe, have a quorum, but Director Bartolotta put out just an update. And there was no new news on the second radio tower at Mile Lane. There were a couple letters of thanking the dispatchers for their help during the large brush fire the South District had and the structure fire at Freeman Road. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Okay.
And now I move towards public hearing reopening on other matters other than on the agenda. If there's anyone from the public who wishes to speak, use the hand raise function on WebEx or *3 on your mobile device. I still see 2 folks from the public, but neither have their hand raised at this time. So I will close this portion of the agenda. And if there's no other questions, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Councilman Mangiafico.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Matter passes unanimously. Deputy Chief, Chief Warren, thank you so much. You guys have a great night. Thank you for all that you do. And we'll see you at the next event.
Thank you guys for all your support too.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Tony, can I ask you, do you have a dog?